The rebirth of cool is kicking off in Niagara today as the world's top cool climate Chardonnay producers gather together with wine lovers to celebrate the grape. The second annual International Cool Climate Chardonnay Celebration, mercifully I4C, will showcase 110 Chardonnays and 50 winemakers with tastings, dinners, fun events where guests can blend their own wine, participate in boot camp, and do other crazy things to reaffirm their love of this style of Chardonnay. Joining me today is Brian Schmidt, winemaker at Niagara's Vineland Estates Winery, to talk about what makes this style of Chardonnay different from others. Welcome, Brian.
Hi, Natalie. It's great to be here. Thank you very much.
Terrific. Oh, well, thank you. So let's start off. First of all, where is cool climate Chardonnay grown around the world? I know Niagara certainly is a hot, well, not hotbed, that's the wrong word.
a little irony there. Well, in fact, cool climate is actually being redefined as we speak. Wine regions throughout the world are beginning to see climate change beginning to affect them, and so some of the traditional areas that we would have considered hot climate are now also experiencing some cool climate conditions, such as California over the last couple of years. We've certainly seen cooler vintages coming out of there, but Niagara has really excelled over the last number of years at producing cool climate wines, Chardonnay, Riesling as well, some really interesting Viogniers, but we're here to celebrate Chardonnay, and so the region itself has really defined itself over the last number of years as producing highly aromatic, bright, crisp, fresh, focused Chardonnays, and that really the soil really lends itself to those particular styles of Chardonnays, as well as cool climate. In some cases, could be defined as a wine region's heat units that are measured over the year, and so winemakers have a tool that we can measure how much heat has been expressed to them by the sun and by the climate over the growing season, and usually somewhere between 1,000 and 1,400, 1,450 would categorize us as being a cool climate wine region.
Okay, you're getting technical, but that's okay. I always think of this is 1,000 units of heat today.
Exactly.
But okay, so let's name off some of the cool climate Chardonnay regions. There's Niagara, there's areas of California, Oregon would be one, right?
Absolutely. Oregon, Burgundy, New Zealand, Tasmania. We have a couple of growers from Tasmania here, I believe. We could also consider Austria to be cool climate. Northern Italy would also be considered cool climate. And these are some of the traditional wine regions. We have both New World and Old World showing their wines here. We have some wineries from Finger Lakes as well. And so it really is just a collection of great wines and great winemakers from all around the world.
Awesome. And so, okay, Niagara and Burgundy, they're often compared because the standard brochure where says we're on the same latitude as Burgundy. But I would assume that Niagara cool climate Chardonnay is still different from Burgundian cool climate Chardonnay. And what's the key way, do you think, that they differ?
I guess that would be, I could probably get a technical answer on that one as well. But,
no, no, please.
I think it's really just a question of an expression of the fruit of the wine and the acidity in the wines. The Burgundy is a fantastic grape growing region. We all know and love it very, very well. But really what defines a region is both its soils, its winemakers, the winemaking style that the winemakers are embracing, the consumers. The consumer also really drives styles of wines. And so if you look at the old world of Burgundy, you have a very traditional, well-established grape-growing region. And a new world region such as Niagara is going to define itself in very different ways. And so it's important that we don't actually compare or to draw a line between the two and try to differentiate it. Both regions are very, very adept at producing great wines, and that's what we're celebrating is the fact that cool climate wines are really becoming popular, and wherever you grow grapes, Chardonnay is one of the most popular varieties planted in the world, and so wherever grapes are grown, there's likely going to be Chardonnay, and so it's a pretty broad grape variety with thousands of faces.
Spoken like a true Chardonnay diplomat. We're all good. But that's great. I love the diversity, so I'm going to keep digging at that. So you mentioned something that I think is really key. The consumer also drives the style. And as you know, I don't know if it's 10 years back or whatever, but we used to have a nasty little movement called Anything But Chardonnay. ABC was the acronym. Yeah. Why did that happen? Why do people have such a spite on for Chardonnay?
Well, I think it grew in popularity over about a 20-year window, whereby, again, because Chardonnay is so diverse and grows so well in most climates, you saw people producing a tremendous amount of Chardonnay, and it became obviously the world's most popular grape variety. And winemakers also began to use different winemaking techniques to express the styles of wines, when you can use different concepts of lees aging, lees maturing, barrel aging, barrel fermenting. All of these winemakers' tools would have created a very different message to the consumer, that not only is the grape important, but the winemaking style is important, and there was all sorts of flavors and textures that were built into the wine by the winemakers in order to create some measure of diversity. And I think winemakers really pushed the envelope on that, and wines became very, very oaky, very rich, very buttery, very high in alcohol. And now that we see people's palates are changing, their diets are changing, people are eating lighter foods, and so the natural evolution would be that the wine styles paired with people's diets would begin to change. And so fresher, crisper, brighter, fresher styles of wines certainly are becoming a consumer hit. And so the cool climate really does express those particular attributes quite well.
Huh. Okay, that's great. We'll have to come up with a new acronym for, well, I guess they have, IC4 or whatever, to replace ABC, but I get what you're saying. They were over-manipulated, they were heavy wines, and I would also expect that they weren't that food-friendly, at least compared to cool climate Chardonnay, because I almost make the bridge between cool climate Chardonnay and a nice zippy Riesling, which you also do very, very well, as being very food-friendly. Why is it that those lighter styles of whites, as opposed to the buttery, heavy, oaky whites, dance better with food?
Well, I think it really is just it's a question of overwhelming your palate. When you're enjoying a meal, with friends and family at your table, you want everything to complement each other. You want the conversation to complement each other. You want people to enjoy themselves. And when you're overburdened by either a high alcohol wine, or you're overburdened by too much flavor, and that really is a bit of a North American concept, having more and more power, more and more flavor. I think it really just tends to dominate the harmony of the evening, or the harmony of the wine. And so I think that it's important for people to be able to enjoy. Certainly, if you're having a dinner, you want to be able to enjoy more than a half a glass or a glass of wine. Those high alcohol wines certainly limit that. And so I think that just in general, people are finding that lighter, fresher, crisper, low alcohol wines are where they want to be.
Absolutely. You know, I make the comparison because I often taste a lot of wines monthly to review them. And, you know, we'll be at a vintages pre-release tasting 100 wines. And the ones that start to stand out are the big ones. But then you get home and it's like almost like meeting someone at a bar who's shouting at you, and that's fine because it's in the context of the bar. But at home, in a dinner party, that guy's way too loud, or gal, I should say. And I think that's the wine style too. It's more subtle. It's more conducive to conversation. It's in balance and in harmony.
Yeah, but that's a great analogy.
Yeah, well, yeah, I'm not going to bars anymore. But one thing I wanted to ask you about that I keep trying to get my head around is this concept of minerality, because we talk about minerality when it comes to these cool climate Chardonnays, but also Riesling and other zippy, zesty whites. Is it a taste or a texture? And just what the heck is it? How can you describe it?
You know what? Minerality is becoming a real buzzword for people, and I think that is certainly being misused. For me, minerality is a texture. It's a bit of an electric buzz at the back of my jowls, and for me, I feel it. To smell minerality, you can sometimes express steely characteristics, wet stone characteristics in the wine that could also be expressed as minerality. But for me, it truly is all about a texture.
Okay.
Sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
And it's something that I think we need to use cautiously as winemakers, simply because it's a great word that people love to hear. It's a connection to the earth. It's a connection to all things natural. And so I believe that we have to really be careful as we move forward and don't overuse that term, because it has so much value.
It has value, and yet it can be a bit intimidating for someone who thinks, oh my goodness, minerality, am I supposed to be tasting the wet stones? And sometimes I think, do we just get it confused with acidity? Because all these wines have terrific acidity, and acidity, by the way, I'm a huge fan of it, because I think it's, you know, the little scrub brushes that literally clean your palate and make food taste even better on the next bite. But do you think we confuse minerality and acidity, just to dwell on this?
You know what, I think that in general the wine industry has done a great job of confusing people, period.
Congratulations.
No, and I think that we have to demystify all of the elements of wines, and really the most important element is either you enjoy it or you don't, first of all. And if you choose to become a little more invested in the process, then you can begin to understand some of the terminology that we use to define and to place wines inside of a box. And so all of these terms primarily are winemakers' tools that we can use to try to recreate or emulate something that we may have been successful with in the past, and so we need to be able to categorize that. But from a consumer perception and a consumer perspective, we have to just try to demystify that, and if that minerality or the acid itself is something that you enjoy, then seek out wines that give you that enjoyment, and not to say that there still are not wines that people are enjoying that are rich and crisp and are rich and full and buttery. Those wines still exist and people are enjoying them. So we have to be careful not to try to pigeonhole people into enjoying something just because they hear that it's good or they've heard rumors that this is what they should be drinking.
Absolutely.
They should drink what they enjoy.
Yeah, first rule, drink what you like and don't get pigeonholed. Drink broadly and widely.
Absolutely.
Brian, thank you so much for chatting with me about this. We're going to come back and talk more about the Cool Climate Chardonnay event. We're also going to taste one of your Cool Climate Chardonnays, because you're a terrific producer at those aromatic whites. So thank you for this chat, and we'll be back with you soon.
Super.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you very much.